This episode of Grilled is sponsored by Rationale, your leading provider in multifunctional hot food preparation equipment. Register now for a free Rationale live demo at www.rationale-online.com.
The following podcast may contain swearing, some sexual references, and a huge amount of sexual tension. If you're easily offended by these, please don't listen.
Welcome to Grilled.
I want to eat Sunday roast whenever I want to eat Sunday roast, not when you want me to eat it.
I'm cooking burgers.
Oh, burgers!
I hope they're not McDonald's.
And you would bend down to pick it up and then he'd fart in your face. He thought that was very, very funny.
Don't mind a bit of gangster rap if I'm driving around Torquay, giving it some,
The guy said to me, the waiter, do you want to come and see the kitchen? I said, no, not really, mate. I've seen one kitchen, I've seen them all.
Like a piece of your culinary penis in or around their mouth.
Welcome to Grilled by the Staff Canteen. I'm Cara, editor of the Staff Canteen, and joining myself and my co-host Michael O'Hare in this episode is Lee Tiernan from Black Axe Mangal. Michael, why did you choose Lee as one of our guests?
Oh, I've been, I chat to Lee quite a bit, and Lee's one of those chefs that I think has the... Pardon me.
Let's spill off the table.
Lee, for me, is one of those chefs, possibly the most craveable food in the country. And because of kind of timing and my location, I've only eaten at Black Axe once. And I remember it so kind of vividly, is that I was almost pissed off with myself for two reasons. And one, that I hadn't been before. And then the other thing, that my body couldn't digest the food quick enough so I could keep consuming. It's one of those meals that because I am, in my heart, I'm a glutton, a proper greedy bastard. And I think it's the kind of food that you just want to gorge on forever. And it's just utterly delicious. And I feel Lee really does his own thing, and it doesn't seem like a conscious effort to go down that path. It's just a very, very clear-cut path. And I just wanted to chat to him about what's happening, what's going on, kind of where he sees himself, and things like that. So Lee, thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely.
It's one of the most flattering things anyone's ever said to me. And now I feel like a complete cunt because I've never eaten that man behind the curtain. I can't even blow smoke up your ass in that respect. You know what I mean? So but I can't wait to come and eat. I was gutted our little collaboration didn't come off.
Yeah, we were this is our only collaboration. So Lee was going to come to Man Behind the Curtain and cook with me.
I saw that because I had my eye on it.
Yeah, and it just, we were on tenterhooks, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? I think we had to cancel it the week before or something stupid like that.
It just didn't feel right. We felt like we wanted to do it when we could do it and actually do it how we wanted to do it, rather than compromising on so many levels.
Yeah, I think especially to have a guest chef that you can't even speak to because of the whole mask thing and social distance thing. It just kind of spoils it. You may as well not be there. And I don't mean anything bad by that, but it just seems a little bit pointless. So, we're definitely looking to do that in the future as soon as we kind of can, and we've both got the availability. And I know that 100% of the people that booked for it want those seats back. So I don't
get first dibs.
Advertise it, yeah.
Can you find me a seat in the kitchen? I'll be quiet and just eat. Your hair looks very bouncy today, Michael.
Yeah, sorry, you get me in full volume today.
The curliest I've seen it.
I haven't blow dried it, and I haven't straightened it, so I'm going full David Lee Roth for the purpose of today.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Enjoy the volume.
I'll show you my hair. So basically, look, there you go. It's shaved around the sides to give the illusion of a haircut.
It looks like. Have you ever watched Vikings on Amazon?
You
look like you're sporting a Viking
I think I've seen it advertised on the side of buses and stuff. Yeah. So I can't leave the house without a cap or a beanie right now.
You ever do that struggle where you put the cap on, you think I might go backwards, and you're like, fuck, I'm too old, man, I can't go backwards.
Man, when I first opened the restaurant, I was wearing bandanas and baseball caps backwards and stuff, and I look at some of the pictures and I was like, why didn't anyone tell me?
I had this obsession with, when Axl Rose wears a bandana and then a hat on top.
Yeah, oh, wow, yeah. That's a strong look, but
yeah, it looks
fucking Axl Rose.
Varian section. So my head's massive. So you end up with tight built elastic thing, loads of wig coming out the side, and then a tiny kind of hat, whatever they're called, on top.
Did you go full kilt as well.
No, but that would be amazing. I've got a tiny penis, so I can't take risks like that, mate. But
a mini kilt.
If I was well endowed, I'd be all over it. I'd be.
Yeah.
So what I truly admire about yourself, Lee, and Kate, and what you've done with Black Axe Mangal is, if you don't mind me saying, that is an incredibly popular restaurant for its size, and the way that you've got that popularity is just with so much integrity. Like, I have no recollection of you going down the obvious route, which is a very easy route of, like, say, doing Saturday Kitchen, doing James Martin, doing Sunday Brunch, all these kind of things that aren't
never been asked.
And what you do it if you would. Hang on, let me finish the question. So, so my question is, like, with that, with the fact that you've built this popularity, like, and just, a minute's research on Black Axe Mangal gives you absolutely everything you need to know, pretty much, which is like perfect. It's so succinct with what the place is that you're really kind of like telling people what to expect, which I think as a restaurateur, you have that responsibility to show your restaurant in its truest light rather than its best light, so that the right people, by right, I mean the people that will enjoy it. You don't want my Nana there mainly because she's dead, but if she wasn't dead, she probably wouldn't enjoy it. She might have more chance of enjoying it dead, in fairness, God rest her soul. But it's not a kind of thing. And is that something that you've consciously done, is to go down a route of everything that you've done seems to be pretty cool, and, like, can I say sellout thing? Like, I've done some things that I've only done to benefit the popularity of my restaurant that isn't where my heart and soul lies. It's a little bit, not embarrassing, but a little bit like, yeah, nice one, dickhead, that's formulaic. I don't see you cooking prawns like fucking Dot Cotton and, on Saturday Kitchen and asking her to like tarragon or whatever. So was that a conscious decision? And how do you feel about it? How do you feel about people that have gone down a different route to yours?
I've never really analysed it, to be honest. It's definitely not been a conscious thing. I don't know. I wish my wife was here, because she would be able to answer the question a hell of a lot better than me. I've never been asked to do Saturday Kitchen or anything like that. So I can't answer that, whether I would entertain that or not. I think it would depend on what mood I was in, what my answer to that would be. But yes, it's a subconscious. It all works on a subconscious level rather than a conscious level. One thing that's always stuck with me, I went to a mad festival in Copenhagen. David Chang said, life's too short to be mediocre, or something along those lines. And like, being mediocre is something I've always been wary of, or like slightly petrified of being. And I think the aim for Black Axe Mangal was to appeal to the 5% rather than the 95%. And out of that 5%, maybe 2% of people get it and like it and come back. And I just wanted to concentrate on a very small audience rather than like a mass audience and try and please everybody. Because, you run a restaurant long enough or work in the industry, you realise you can't please all the people all the time. Sometimes all the people you can't please are in your restaurant at the same fucking time as well. So you just have those nights. But I think there's a lot of insecurity around opening Black Axe Mangal and a lack of confidence on my part when we first opened, like putting myself out there. And I don't know if you experienced the same thing. You come across as like ultra confident, but I didn't really have an idea of really what I was doing. I was just like rabbit in the headlights. Mm-hmm. And what I did, I created loads of things that would maybe put people off coming to the restaurant. So, or maybe not put people off, but if you couldn't put up with them, then
you wouldn't tolerate the rest.
Then you could, like, we weren't the place for you. So, like, really loud music. We painted vaginas and dicks all over the floor with flames coming out of them, and just had a kind of attitude that was like, this is how it is, like it or lump it, really. We're not going to turn the music down, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it sounds like, not going to turn the music down kind of thing. But it's, they were like shields for me to hide behind, especially when I was in Copenhagen and when it first started, that I felt I could hide behind the music. And then the music became part of the restaurant's identity.
But that's you know, you can say that's to put people off, but how do I say this? I think there's a parallel, even though we have two very different restaurants. There's a parallel in that they're both maybe considered alternative restaurants, if that's fair to say, without being too kind of Avril Lavigne about it. And I think you have a responsibility to really highlight exactly what's happening in there. And it's so easy to try and please all. And when you try and please all, you ultimately please none. But if you can say, like, you know, you don't blow anyone away. You know,
I'd rather, that's the worst.
Knock out Caesar salads and do like kind of that beige to nutmeggy kind of food that would please all. Like the Ivy, you know, the Ivy's it's a good restaurant. I can't say anything bad about it, but I also don't think I could take anyone to the Ivy and them not like it. But I also couldn't take anyone and just blow their pants off, you know what I mean? And if you want to have that reaction for ego, which is important, you know, it is. It's important for your well-being, for your progression and your drive and stuff like that. Then I think you've got to be really succinct in exactly what you're doing. And maybe that is initially an over-the-top reaction to like kind of block people out. But I think it's more signaling the right people than it is blocking people out. It's doing, you know, both things at the same time. Weird thing on that Mad Festival is just something that, like you said, that David Chang thing stuck with you forever. Did you see the Mugaritz presentation?
Is that when someone dissolved the leaf on stage?
Yeah, they did this this eggless meringue, which isn't like unusual now. But they did this egg-free meringue. But what was amazing about it is like the presentation and the way they did it. And I just felt like sometimes cultures don't overlap that well. And or like style is poorly translated. And they kept doing this thing after every move of saying the name of the restaurant, and it fucking did me in. I had to like get up and leave. I was like pissing myself laughing because after they did everything, like whisk something and then show it, and it'd be like Mugaritz. You know,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of everything, just a logo. Mugaritz. I love that idea of work, and that you could just say the restaurant name after everything. Chop some chives. Black Axe Mangal.
But it wasn't ironic in any way. They weren't taking the piss.
No, 100% sincere.
It was serious.
Incredible restaurant. It was just like from that mad feed. It was just whoa. This is.
I've never been to Mugaritz. I mean, the mad festivals also seem to bleed into one in my memory, and also I have to admit, and I don't think I'm alone here, that it was hard to stay awake sometimes in that dark circus tent environment. So every now and again I might have nodded off, but very valuable experiences on the whole. I think there's a couple of defining moments, like when Danny Bowen and Chris Ying and Anthony from Mission Chinese got up and did their demonstration, The Audacity of Hope, but they talked about how Mission Chinese started in a Chinese restaurant and just grew from there. It was one of the more inspiring speeches that I really took away. A lot of, I think, more confidence in the idea that I had for the direction I wanted to go in. Because I was working at St. John at the time, and I thought I'd work at St. John forever.
With the food that you're doing at Black Axe, it's quite niche specific, and obviously you've gone down a certain path, which is a casual kind of, you're not chasing accolades or like a pat on the back or a medal or anything for what you're doing. How do you feel that because of that, there's any culinary restrictions because of the style of food at Black Axe? And is there anything that, I'll say this in a different way. When I ate at your restaurant, I thought, fucking hell, there's some things going on here that I would love to have that flavor in the mouths of my guests, but I can't do that because of the restrictions in my restaurant. Are there any restrictions that you have because of the style of Black Axe that you wish that like you could be able to knock out, but the restaurant kind of brand doesn't really fit it?
Can you tell me what restrictions you felt you couldn't achieve at your restaurant that I'm achieving at mine?
Yeah, of course. So like...
not to answer a question with a question.
No, it's fine. So like because of the menu format and the style of the restaurant, the man behind the curtain, everything has to be like super neat, super stylish and kind of refined. Whereas the food at Black Axe, I feel like is cooked as if you're ready to eat that right this fucking second. Like whoever's just cooked that, it really broke their heart passing it over to someone to bring it to me. Like they were going to keep it. And
wow, that's an emotional link to have made.
But you know what I mean? It's like
I was just crying to get the food out on time, like in a decent order.
I could look at my food, not necessarily to wank over, but there's an opportunity to like feed my own ego by looking at it and saying, "Fucking hell, we really nailed that, guys. That looks the bollocks. The texture's perfect. The taste bang on." In the future, as I look to open like another restaurant, it will not be something that has those restrictions because I'd like the freedom. So, for example, like Ronald McDonald can't do a little Balatina salmon as a side. Is there anything that you feel that you can't do that is well within your capabilities as a chef? That sometimes you get that feeling, think, "Fuck, I'd love to make a consomme, or I'd love to do this, that, and the other." Is there anything?
Well, I mean, the size of the restaurant and the excuse me, I'm coughing a lot because I swallowed a bug earlier. So I'm still like suffering from that, or it could be a pube, one of the two.
What were you doing earlier?
No, it's definitely a fly. It's definitely a fly, or an aphid or whatever. So back to the question. The size of the restaurant is we started with 17 seats and now we've upgraded to 24 when we're open and operational, and we've got a grill and an oven and a deep fat fryer. So the equipment. I basically gave myself a box to play in to see how far I could push that box, and I would have loved some more shiny toys and stainless steel and a sleeker operation in some respects. But our budget kind of gave us the opportunity to see how far we could push the limited equipment we could get into the building and utilize. And also, I'd always prioritize flavor over anything else. I would never compromise flavor to make something look better.
Yeah, you see, I feel like if I'm like just being totally honest, because it would be easy to say, "Oh, I don't do that, I'm flavor driven," you know what I mean? But I'll just be straight, is that I absolutely can't do that all the time. I have to like curve things in and shape them into a certain direction to fit that restaurant because the experience is such a large part of it. Now, we don't like cover anything in like fucking, I don't know, spray paint. Actually, we do. Do you know what I mean? We're not covering anything in like anything that tastes bad or covering up for any mistakes in any way. But I fucking love a Sunday roast. Like, I love it.
Yeah, you wouldn't spray it gold, right?
No, exactly. So like to cook a perfect Sunday roast, I'd love to do that. But I can't do that in the restaurant. There's no version of a Sunday roast that I'm able to do that wouldn't look absolutely wild in that restaurant. And in fairness, it would probably look a bit ridiculous in Black Axe also, as in like
I mean, it's not something I've ever considered putting on the menu. But again, I don't restrict myself in the sense that I think if I could, I'll get an idea and then I'll work it over my head, and then I might bounce it off the other chefs when I actually had people working here. We'd come up with something organically over a couple of days, or something we might have an idea in the morning and it'd be on the menu in the evening. Sometimes we're developing things during service, and I kind of like that a little bit. Like sometimes it added the pressure. Other times it's just like, okay, I'm so into this now, I'm going to put us in the shit to try and get it, because I felt like I might forget about that idea or it might slip away. I just like the spontaneity of it. I'm married with 3 kids, so sometimes spontaneity is quite lacking. So I found that in the restaurant, I could still dip in and out of that to a degree. Just want it to be fun. Do you know what I mean? Just like try not to overanalyze it whilst overanalyzing everything.
If you Google yourself, which I'm sure you don't do, it does say that one of the first things is you're the most provocative chef in London. Is that something you'd agree with?
Who said that? Was it you, Michael?
I'd put it, but I don't know. Provocative's an unusual word.
Yeah, so,
I refer to you always as MOH because that's what I've got you in my phone as. So actually, I think that's the first time I've ever called you Michael.
That's the kind of thing someone does when they're disguising who's messaging them.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. People definitely do that.
like it's going to flash up more. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? And your wife will be like, "Who's that?" And you'll be like, "Michael O'Hare," but really it's like Melissa, whatever.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, yeah. His alter ego.
Yeah.
Don't be getting Lee into trouble with his wife, Michael.
No, I'm not. I mean, he's saying that it's my number. I'm just saying it's.
I think she probably did ask me, and I was like, "That's Michael O'Hare."
My mum had. It was a while ago now. Like, my mum calls me Michael. Most people call me Michael. You know, the whole "it's my name" thing. And she'd lost.
You're not a Mike kind of guy.
I'm not really a Mike. I'm definitely not a Mick. I've got an uncle Mike, and he's got a mustache, and I just never saw me being a mustache kind of guy. Yeah, my mum lost her phone, and she was like, "Could you ring it?" And I rang it, and then heard it, and found it for her, and it came up with like my name flashing on the front. And she had me saved in her phone. Bear in mind, I'm an only child. Chef Mikey.
Chef.
Mikey. I was like, what? Why am I down as Chef Mikey? One, you don't call me Mikey. No one calls me Mikey. And why is my occupation like the prefix for your own son, your only son? Like, you don't even know another Michael. I'm just me. You know what I mean?
You should have insisted that they used Chef Mikey O'Hare on the Great British Menu. And, you're doing your dramatic walk down the corridor in your Gucci's. Don't think I didn't notice those Gucci's.
I imagine that Chef Mikey O'Hare operates on roller boots. You know what I mean? He comes down there like the rollerblades.
Roller boots? Did you just say roller boots?
Yeah, like roller boots down the corridor.
I thought they're roller skates or aren't they roller skates?
Whatever, man. I don't know. Can you
inline skate? I don't know.
No, I think
roller boots.
A straight four. We'll go roller skates if you like.
I've never heard. Yeah, maybe I don't know. It just sounds weird. But
sorry,
sorry, causing controversy over.
You're weirding Lee out with your description of roller boots.
I'm just avoiding the question. About being provocative.
About being provocative.
That's not intentional. I don't think that's intentional. Was that Restaurant magazine?
It might have been, actually. Yes, it was. And I didn't read enough of it because I just wanted to ask you about as to whether they were saying they were saying you as a person is provocative or your food is provocative.
I mean, I think I've always had problems just chatting about this kind of stuff in general. But it's not like I sit at home and analyse and I have all the questions and I'm just reluctant to share them. And I didn't set out to be the most provocative chef. And I think people want, like, writers need stuff to write about. People need stuff to talk about, and everyone's desperate to pigeonhole things as well.
Yeah,
everything's got to fit into a certain box or on a certain shelf in a certain way. And I think one thing I've made a conscious effort to do. Since Tom Parker Bowles reviewed us, and he said we were uncategorizable, and I really fucking liked that. And it took him to make me realize that's what I wanted my restaurant to be, and I've wanted to continue to be uncategorizable. I don't want people to be able to work out what we're doing, because that will always put us on a certain path in a certain direction. And if I want to change the way we do things or put different things on the menu. Like, we started off, Black Axe Mangal, it's supposed to be a Turkish restaurant, and it lasted about 3 days before it started to morph into something else. I also think I've got a very short attention span, and I like new things. It takes an incredible amount of effort for me to actually just have a conversation like this without going off in a million different directions. I feel like in my head sometimes it's like a million tabs open on an iPad and then I'm thinking about all those things simultaneously. So I think, I don't know, there's not much room sometimes for me to actually talk about what I'm supposed to be talking about, because there's always other stuff happening in my brain. I don't know if I actually have made any sense there in the last 2 minutes, but
what about
I think basically, yeah, I want to be uncategorizable and I don't want to be mediocre. But I don't sit at home just like thinking about that. That's what I need to achieve. I always feel I sound like such a wanker when I talk about myself.
Well, it is a difficult thing to talk about, though, isn't it? But I think there's it's very, very easy from the first person to like kind of misinterpret self-worth or knowledge of the self as arrogance, and it's not. You know, without a shadow of a doubt, you have a successful restaurant and you are a chef. Therefore, to say about yourself, I'm a successful chef, that's just fact. That's not arrogance, and that it's kind of directionally one particular way, or that it's a conscious or subconscious effort, is just how you operate. I don't think there's anything negative about that. It is just a little bit uncomfortable, isn't it? It's a bit Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like, hi, my name's Lee. I'm a successful chef. And do you know what I mean? You feel like almost a guilt for that.
Yeah, I suppose because I watch other people do it and it seems effortless, and I don't cringe when they do it. Like I mean, I think I admire people that can translate it in a way that doesn't come across as arrogant.
Is there anything that happens within kind of restaurants and hospitalities that does make you cringe? You see and you think, oh, like maybe it's not, you don't have to name names, although you're quite keen on doing that.
Oh, here we go.
But no, I'm not trying to trap you anyway, but I don't know, like a very basic version of this is something that's overly marketed, where it's a picture of a gin and tonic, and that place is saying, come join us on the terrace for a refreshing gin and tonic. Is there anything that you see that you're like, oh my God, I fucking hate it when people do that or restaurants do that?
I'm honestly trying to think, because I try and maintain a positive outlook at all times when it comes to our industry and people just trying to make it and trying to do something good and working hard towards achieving that and running a business. And it's like, you know, as well as I do, how difficult it can be sometimes to run a business like this. And I think sometimes people do take it like sound a bit, I don't know, like try and choose my words carefully here. There's an element of desperation sometimes. I don't think that's always the intention. I think enthusiasm can override things sometimes as well. It's not a lot. I think everyone's just out to do their best, and well, on the most part,
right. Well, if you're going
to do their best,
you're going to be a nice guy, then I'll be the cunt.
I'm always going to be the nice guy.
Something that
because I think if I have to, I think I am a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm not, so that makes.
I'm learning that you are as well.
But do you know what it is? I find it difficult to not voice an opinion, and I know that it's not always mine to say. I just find it difficult not to. On the subject of kind of lockdown, and let's go boxes for a little bit. So I'm on my second Black Axe and Bow box tonight. How do you feel about the box culture, and do you think it's here to stay?
I don't know if it's here to stay. I think it could be a factor. Certainly not on the scale of that it is now when restaurants reopen, but I think it's opened up the availability of restaurants in, let's say, London to people that are living in Leeds, Scotland. So that's a positive thing. So people don't have to travel so much if they want to try and experience a taste of that restaurant.
Yeah.
As long as that restaurant's sending something that travels well and can be reproduced without too much fuss. I'm releasing a box at the end of March with Big Night, and I'm trying to make it as little fuss on intervention for the customer as possible. But I think they've been a positive thing, and I think they've been a lifeline for some restaurants that otherwise may have had to close because they've had to continue paying rent. They wanted to keep on as many staff as possible, and it's been a positive thing.
That's 100% from my perspective. Like, the restaurant would be gone if we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, without a shadow of a doubt. Overheads for a restaurant. I mean, we've got 7,500 square foot restaurant that's 32 covers. So like, it costs a lot to keep that up.
I think mine's like 2,000 square feet or something, like basement and upstairs, my restaurant.
It's nice, and I guess that's one of the benefits of, like, you know, if I had a restaurant in London, it wouldn't look like that. So it's a different thing. But what I've kind of, like, at first, even though I was doing the boxes, I wasn't that into it, and it's a new route for everyone. But now I just feel like people are getting so fucking good at it, like so good at it that
our industry is brilliant at adapting and it's brilliant at what it does. And I think it's only going to take sorry to interrupt. It's only a matter of time before restaurants start really nailing that experience for people and understanding it, and the deliveries and the packaging will become more sleek and operation become more efficient. Ultimately, the experience for the consumer will be better and better every time.
and that's got to stand well for, you know. So I'd put you and, you know, Black Axe Mangal and Smokestack in a similar category for me as a non-Londoner, and that is that if I was going to London, those would be places that I would want to eat at, but I'm not deliberately going to travel to London for that. It's like something that I'm doing while I'm there, if I can get in. But also when I travel to London, because I'm going that far, I'll try and have dinner somewhere nice, which means that I'm probably not going to eat that much during lunch. So when you've got restaurants like yourself or David at Smokestack that is just, for a greedy bastard like myself, it's impossible to stop ordering.
Yeah.
I can't really come to you for lunch or go to Smokestack for lunch and then go and eat at Cara in the night time, because I'm literally going to fucking Augustus Gloop. You know, I will explode myself. Supernova in the streets with fucking pork jowl hanging out at me or whatever. But so it's really nice, I think, for non-Londoners in particular, where you've got such a wealth of different style restaurants that we can have access to that instantly. And I've started to like adjust my weekly shop to like take in the odd box here and there, you know. So I'm not having a takeaway. I'm having bao buns tonight, and I could have gone to the shop and, you know, cooked some pork belly and then made some bao buns. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Everything that I'm having tonight, apart from that fucking ox tongue, which is unbelievable, by the way, I could have made at home, but I don't want to. I want that like kind of whole experience, and it takes me. I think I've got like making your buns down to about 3 minutes start to finish. Like it's just,
oh wow,
it's so quick. You know what I mean?
That's faster than I put them together. To be honest, like bao have been great. They've executed that recipe and distributed it in such a way that's been fantastic, and I've really enjoyed the collaboration. But they executed all of the cooking and the distribution. So I didn't have much to do with that other than talking them through the recipe. And
mate, I could, if I went to Black Axe tomorrow and you weren't cooking, no disrespect, but I wouldn't give a shit. I want to eat the food, right? I don't
of course
care who's cooking there. I trust that like you're going to employ people that can do the job, and that goes for every restaurant. But I just think it's such a beautiful thing. It's like Bao have really nailed that, and I think in honesty, in terms of instructions, presentation, packaging, delivery, that's the best I've had. And like you said, it can only go from that. And if that gets better, then what a wonderful thing that like people outside London can order that, can have access, because there's just fucking too many restaurants in the country and way too many in the world, particularly for chefs. Most chefs are like Tuesday to Saturday is a write-off. Sunday, Monday, nothing's open. So like you've probably got your 4 or 5 weeks holiday of the year to fit in whatever restaurants you want. Budget's not going to allow for all of those. So if I can get a snippet of somewhere here and there to like brighten up the week, that I think that's a fucking brilliant thing. And it puts your 24-seater restaurant into a potential 60 million seater restaurant, in that there's no one in the country, well, maybe 20 million in terms of wealth and earning, age. It just opens your audience up so much without having a negative impact on your restaurant. And I think that's like, that hopefully will be fucking class.
Yeah, I mean, when we reopen, I don't quite know how we're going to do it yet, but we might not be able to open every day of the week. And having a box option or click and collect, or people can probably just wander in and get it, or a pre-order system, that might give us another revenue stream that will help us grow as a restaurant, employ more people. And maybe this sort of period has given people the opportunity to go, yeah, we can actually get something restaurant grade delivered to the house with minimal intervention from us, and have a great experience and a great time with that. I've kind of forgotten. I've lost the thread of the question.
How much do you think you'll have to change when you do reopen? Because we've mentioned the size of your restaurant a few times.
I'm toying with the idea of maybe doing a set menu when we first reopen, but nothing's set in stone yet. I'd need to see where I'm at, see where the country's at, see how I'm feeling, see how many staff I've got, and then just work from that. What I don't want to do is I feel like, although this is a difficult period for our industry and the country and the world as a whole, for me, it's given me a lot of time to reflect. And I feel like I'm in a much better physical and mental state now than I was this time last year. And I want to preserve that as much as possible.
Do you think due to spending more time with the family, of being away from the kind of hustle of the restaurant? What do you think?
It was a good opportunity to reset and reevaluate, and in a way that we wouldn't have stopped the way we did if it wasn't imposed. That was a good opportunity then to, like, once I've got over that initial shock, obviously you start thinking about certain things and you start where you're at. And, you know, I've got 3 kids and I got to know them in ways that I don't think I would have got to know them if the restaurant hadn't have closed in the way it did, like, so abruptly.
Isn't that quite interesting that, because I agree wholeheartedly, is that I feel so much more stable, I guess. I was never unstable particularly, but so much more like kind of on track, so much happier now than maybe not 12 months ago, maybe like 14 months ago, something like that. And I know a lot of chefs, I've spoken to a lot of chefs who have had that real time to reflect. I think that's such an interesting thing, that how the fuck can you feel mentally in a better position when your restaurant's been closed for 12 months? You've had, like, undoubted, no matter who you are, financial hardship. It doesn't matter if you're like a guy with a pizza shop or if you're Jason Atherton.
Absolutely.
Most people seem to have come out of it personally stronger because their priorities have just totally been rearranged by it, and it's a positive, right? A positive to come from that.
That's definitely a positive, and yeah, hopefully we won't have to go through it again. But it's important for me now not to go backwards and to try and maintain what I've gained from the pandemic.
I guess with the pandemic, and I didn't really want to ever talk about it, but it just seems to be like the only thing that's happened. So there will definitely be casualties in terms of restaurants lost, and that's obviously a bad thing. But I guess
and unemployment and
but I mean, in terms of restaurants, restaurants will exist again, and it will be a change of hands. So, you know, the negative is people are going to lose the restaurant, but the positive is that some new people are going to open restaurants, and it gives, I think, you know, with a lot of kind of vacant spaces, I imagine that the premiums on those places will drop significantly, and hopefully, if any good comes of it, then there's some opportunities for some young chefs, you know, I don't know, yourself kind of 7, 8 years ago, whatever it was, to start their own business. Is there anything that, like, in a quite succinct way, that advice that you would give someone that was looking to start up now?
Well, before I pass on any bad advice about things I don't really understand about running businesses and stuff, there's a couple of real success stories I think we can point out. Is I did a collaboration with a guy called Will. I say it like I don't know him. Will's Pies. So he was working at Brat, got furloughed, decided he'd knock up 20 pies and sell them, get on his bike and sell them around London. And now he's smashing it every week, selling hundreds of pies. He's got pies running. Yeah. And so that business, things like that have happened. From the Ashes Barbecue, 3 chefs, they were on furlough, decided to start a little hatch in Hackney Wick. And they're going from strength to strength. So I agree that there's little things will pop up when things die. You know, like I don't know, what's a good analogy? Like, you know, when the planes burn and everything's like looks devastated, and then things start to grow back.
I think. Slowly. What about Lion King?
Okay.
When Scar's had his way with the hyenas, and then, like, we're at the point now where Simba's walking back with Nala, and he's thinking, you know what I mean? If I fight my uncle, maybe we'll get a few new restaurants.
Have you got a 4 or 5-year-old son by any chance?
I have, yeah. It was a good analogy. It was a good analogy, right?
Disney is a very good go-to for analogies, I think.
I don't know if I've given a decent analogy so far.
I mean, it's been like absolutely class talking to you. Can I just, you know, wish you all the success when you do reopen? I know that you've got limited size, but you genuinely deserve everything that comes to you. I think without piping you off too much, I think you're an unbelievable cook, and I think you've got an unbelievable thing with Black Axe.
Thank you both very much, and I'll speak to you both soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care, guys. See you later.
Thank you. Bye. We hope you enjoy listening to Grilled as much as we enjoy recording it. If you want to catch up on past episodes, they are all available now. Just search for Grilled by the Staff Canteen where you normally get your podcasts. And if you want to help us keep bringing you the content you love, you can contribute from as little as £1. Just head to thestaffcanteen.com to find out how.
This episode of Grilled is sponsored by Rationale, your leading provider in multifunctional hot food preparation equipment. Register now for a free Rationale live demo at www.rationale-online.com.